So talking about Chelsea now, Marina Granovskaia is out the door. Peter Cech is either heading out the door or is
Following.
already yeah. Um, so a lot of big changes, and Boehly. I think that's how you pronounce his name.
Boehly, something.
Anyway, the American dude. He is apparently really getting hands-on with transfers and contracts and stuff like that, which I don't know how much experience he has with them, but I'm a little bit confused as to why you would make those kind of extreme moves. Czech has been pretty good in this position at Chelsea so far. Granovskaia, I mean, amazing negotiator. She has managed to really get a lot of good money for a lot of those Chelsea youth prospects that not you wouldn't expect those players to go for big money despite not having played a lot of time in for Chelsea, and yet they're getting nice big fees for them, and it's all due down to Granovskaia. And she's also bartered a lot of moves coming in. Like, she was a big part in getting Lukaku in through the doors as well, even though the move in the end failed. But I mean, clearly a talented individual, and so I'm trying to wrap my head around why he would want to get rid of those guys.
It's more or less of a clear out of trying to have a clean slate, or probably trying to establish authority everywhere, just to show that who's the boss now and who controls things there. And maybe you couldn't fault him for he's just removing Abramovich loyalists, people who Roman has worked with quite closely, and maybe it's something that he doesn't want it to be associated with the team henceforth or moving forward, which is why he wants to oversee everything go in a different direction. You can't fault him at that because of the way how things unfolded over why Abramovich had to sell the club and things like that, which you don't want to go through again. So I think it makes sense. What I think doesn't make sense is he doesn't have the experience, maybe. But again, these are businessmen, these are seasoned professionals who've known what it takes to deal multi-million dollar transfers and things like that. So wouldn't put it past him. I think they need to get some familiar faces in just for the fan engagement, the fan side of things, or maybe just so that there is a connect with the past and the present. But I think that can be developed over time. And credit to Boehly, now it's been confirmed that Chelsea have made a £55 million bid for Raphina. They are in for Sterling, who's almost done. They are probably rumored to be going for Nathan Ake too from City, if I'm not wrong.
Also, I think Matthias de Ligt from Juventus
Yeah,
as well.
even
So
Delict
that's
from
another.
Juventus.
I guess these are. I mean, I don't see these as like. I mean, Nathan Ake, I don't think he's a top four defender. Delict, possibly, but he's kind of had a hit or miss spell at Juventus so far. And I mean, Raheem Sterling, Raphina, filling up an attack that already has a lot of good players. They've really not managed to offload anyone so far, and there doesn't some for whatever reason there doesn't seem to be a whole lot of interest in getting those players out of Chelsea either. I mean, I would think any club in Europe, like especially Italy or Germany even, would love to have some of those players in that Chelsea attack. I mean, I
I
can
think
see.
the Ziyech move to AC Milan is almost
Oh yeah, yes. I mean, that's a
towards
good move.
rotation. Yeah.
Yep, that's a great move for him. I think people would be interested in getting Pulisic and Hudson-Odoi out of the club as well. Of course, Timo Werner hasn't painted himself in the best of light, so he may not have as many suitors as Chelsea would like. But they have really not been linked with anybody in midfield. I don't know where that's going. And then the defensive options, I think Jules Koundé is pretty much fallen through at this point. In fact, rumors are that he might actually end up going to Barcelona, where they have the money to make that deal. Somebody please tell me, but
Barcelona are linked with Rafinha, Jules Koundé, Robert Lewandowski, and looking at their accounts, they can't even play their own players right now.
I I swear. But a lot of these, for me at least, a lot of these transfers seem more like fanfare signings as opposed to players that might actually bring some real utility to the team. Like Sterling is a fabulous player, but I don't know, maybe he's a better, wide attacker than what Chelsea currently have. But it's not like Tuchel can't develop that attack into a better unit without having to, get a new player in through the doors. The defensive options that they have been linked with, I'm kind of not convinced at this point either. So these seem more like glamorous signings as opposed to players that Chelsea might actually genuinely benefit from having in their squad, and that's where I feel like that's Boehly kind of going through, like, like your FIFA 22 list to just sort the players with their OVR and kind of pick the top ones. Yeah,
If
where do you see, like, do you see Chelsea actually making some meaningful signings, and where do you see Chelsea heading into next season under this new ownership?
I think they can target the third spot or second. I'm not sure if they are title contenders again, because they need to shore up on a lot of places, especially their defense. But with the quality that they've had, and even after having a rough season, they still managed to be top four. And again, Lukaku wasn't really a big contributor. So l- losing out on Lukaku this season, I don't think it's going to make a big difference. I think Sterling makes a lot of sense, where he's also a very fluid attacker. He can probably play the false nine. If they get Raphina, then cherry on the top, because that makes two very brand new attacking signings, both proven in the Premier League, and they have talent such as Mason Mount, Kai Havertz, who are nailed on starters, which at least sorts out their attack, if not defense.
But I feel like, yeah, they desperately need central midfield reinforcements. I mean, of course, Ben Chilwell and James are like nailed on for either side as their wing backs, but they might need to add some, backup for those positions as well. Because I mean, Chilwell was out
Uh,
for most of last season, and that did affect Chelsea a lot. Um,
well, they do have the option of going for Declan Rice for 100 million, because they've been on the chase for at least 2 seasons now, if
yeah,
I can recall correctly.
I mean, for all the transfer links, I think that would have been the easiest way for Boehly to really get the fans on board, is just go and get Declan Rice from West Ham, because Chelsea fans have been clamoring for that move. Declan Rice has been clamoring for that move. That would have probably been the easiest way to get everybody on board and actually, in a very significant way, strengthen Chelsea going into next season as well, because that adds a very good midfield presence for them, which they kind of lacked last season for the most part, because a lot of injuries and fitness issues across that midfield. Yeah, I have to agree with you in that sense that Chelsea will probably still challenge for top four. I'm not entirely convinced that they will end up getting top four. Clearly, City and Liverpool are gonna fly away at one and two, whether either one of those in that position. Spurs will give a much better account of themselves, getting a full season under Antonio Conte. Barring any meltdowns, I would not be surprised if Spurs also sneak into the top four, and of course, Arsenal have to make it in there. Some fabulous transfer business from them, so I definitely want Arsenal, and I can see Arsenal doing better again next season. But yeah, that fourth spot I feel is going to be a battle between Arsenal and Chelsea from the looks of it.